We are Guardian Solutions. So this is take number 4. We are attempting to do a short little video, like after action review of Rangemasters Tactical Conference. We are first time attendees this year. And we're too lazy to type up a report. That's what it comes down to. So you get what you get. We're going to give a brief overview of the shooting classes that we took and of the classroom portions that we took, and then just a quick review of the facility and the staff and how the event was run. So, and we'll kick it off with Courtney with the classes she took. The gun classes.
So the gun classes was, I can hold that be easier. Okay. So I took the low-hanging fruit with Rhett, as well as intro to deep concealment and process versus outcome, the hell of a drill. So those were the, and time better spent than chasing the sub-second draw. Almost forgot that one. So, Lee's class, time better spent than chasing the sub-second draw, I thought was very informative. Gave a different perspective, since generally the shooting community seems to focus on that sub-second draw, so that was very interesting to get different perspective on that and to kind of highlight a balance that can be found. Then the low-hanging fruit and intro to deep concealment, both with Rhett. So low-hanging fruit, that was very nice because I got a lot. As instructors, I think, it's definitely important to work on your own development and skills. And I think a lot forget that. So, because that's basically why we're doing this, is so we can make enough money to go to our own training.
To go to it, yes.
Yes. So pay for our own habits. But anyway, so it was nice getting that one-on-one instruction. And lo and behold, it's stuff I've been told before, and I have yet to get with the program and make the correction. So thank you, Rhett, for pointing that stuff out. And then, of course, he continued to point those things out in the class right after that with the deep concealment. So he stayed on top of me, which is good. That's what I need. Because it's hard to know what you're doing, right? Unless you're recording yourself. So getting that feedback from somebody else is super, super helpful. Probably out of, and then, the deep concealment class with Rhett again right after, that was absolutely wonderful. We didn't even shoot very much. It was a lot of dry fire, which was fine with me, because I've gotten on the brink where I'm just like, why? Like, I've really questioned carrying on a regular basis and things like that. It's, proper concealment is something I've always struggled with, even with devices like the Enigma, and I work in a non-permissive environment in my full-time job. So, and I've seen people deep carry, but I never felt comfortable with it, because I always felt like the grip needed to be outside of my pants so I could grab it, and I didn't know a technique otherwise. So, big thanks to Rhett for that, for showing us how to do that, and so I have more confidence, and I think I'll definitely be changing some things around. So, and then process versus outcome, the hell of a little drill. That was an interesting little drill. We're practicing mostly. I guess in short, the best way to describe it was switching from dominant to supportive hand while shooting, and that was very helpful, because it's something that I know personally I don't train with enough, and I did very well out of that class. Like I passed he had a little, I guess, assessment at the end, and so I did well on that, so I was really excited about that. I think that was all the classes I had. Yeah. The shooting classes.
Okay. And then I had Kilt in the Streets, an introduction to competition shooting with Tim Reedy. I had I want to call it trigger management. I know that's not the name of it, but with Wayne Dobbs. And then I had it was introduction to retention position shooting. I don't think the word introduction is in there, but it was with Steve Moses. So let's start with Tim Reedy.
Instruction reported ahead.
Tim had there was a morning classroom session that was 2 hours long. I attended that just so that you could get an overview of the sport and sort of what the rules are. And then I took the afternoon shooting session for that. That class was open enrollment. I would recommend maybe for next year, if you're going to offer that class again, make the classroom portion a prerequisite for the shooting portion. We would have been able to to run a couple more stages had Tim and Patrick not had to go back over a lot of the things that they had already discussed in class, because we had people in the shooting block that did not attend the classroom portion. So main takeaway from that, everybody has the big discussion about, well, if you just do competition, it's going to get you killed in the streets and all of these other things, hence killed in the streets, because the kills, of course, and the streets. And so Tim's main point, and Masad Ayub also has the same point. I'm never going to pronounce that man's name right. I'm so sorry.
Instruction reported ahead.
Is that competition is necessary as a stress inoculator almost, and for you to develop a competitive spirit, because even though, yes, competition shooting is just a game, when you get in a gunfight, that's a competition too. You have to beat the other guy. And so that is a worthwhile pursuit in and of itself. So we only got to shoot one stage. My takeaways from that is that competition has a lot more to offer than just stress inoculation or competitive spirit. It requires you to use a bunch of the skills that you maybe don't have or that you need to work on. And it would be an excellent self-audit. So you have to practice ammunition management, you have to manage your terrain and your obstacles. You also have to manage your own skill level. For example, like if hey, I really suck at the far targets, so I'm going to have to allocate more time and more ammunition for that target. Where can I make up that time and maybe make up some of that ammunition on a different target? So it does make you manage your own skill set as well. And so from a training perspective, this would be an excellent way to once a month go out and audit your practice, because somebody else is going to collect hard data for you. You're going to have the number of hits that you made. You're also going to have your time. So you're going to have a balance at least of, some rudimentary data on accuracy and speed. And you'll be able to chart your progress over time and see if your practice program is actually working for you. So that was my takeaway from that class. So I will probably be joining my local IDPA chapter and playing some games on 1 week in a month. Wayne Dobbs's class was basically discussed three modes of working the trigger. One that he called the smash or the crash, which is what we all do when we're trying to either capture that perfect sight picture and beat the bullet to the target, or we're run out of time, or we're in a panic and we just whap, 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 whap. The other he called the roll, which is the slow, steady press, and when it would be appropriate to use that. And then the third mode was the prep and press, that, if you've attended any Rangemaster class, you are very familiar with the prep and press. So I did fantastically when I did not have a timer. And as soon as the timer got turned on, I forgot all of that little bit of deliberate practice that we just did, and all I did was smash the trigger because I was trying to beat that damn clock. And I do it all the time, and I know I do it all the time, and I don't stop myself from doing it. So, physician, heal thyself. I just had another reinforcement of things that I need to practice. I will say that Wayne's class was the most efficiently run class. He wasted absolutely no time. He made sure that, that everybody, if you've ever been to a range master course, you've got to be stuffing your mags while you're waiting. But he made sure to say, hey, we're going to do a lot of shooting. You better have your rounds on hand and be stuffing those mags when you're not shooting on the line. Don't fiddle fart around. Don't be messing with your stuff. You're going to take all the commands from me. He was very, very efficient in the way that he ran that line. And so he got a lot of work done in a very limited amount of time. And then Steve Moses's class was defensive shooting from retention positions. That was the class that was completely outside of my skill set, and I probably wasn't ready for it, to be honest with you. He and Alan McBee did an excellent job of describing everything that we were doing. This is a dangerous class. The penalty for failure or for doing something wrong is an injury to yourself. He was very, very clear about that. And let me say that at no time did I feel unsafe. Okay? They ran that line very, very well. We did a lot of dry practice. And I've been in classes where they just tell you to do the thing, but then nobody walks the line and fixes you. Every single time we did a dry run, either Steve or Alan was there repositioning your elbow or your hand, or telling you, hey, yep, that's good to go, or nope, I need you to, I need that thumb indexed up, I need, or something to that effect before we actually fired a round. That was wonderful. I would love to, I will not be practicing this on my own. This is not something that I feel comfortable practicing by myself. I would love to see an 8 or even a 16-hour full immersive course, but first of all, I don't know if there's a business case for that. Second of all, I don't know if it exists. And third, you would have to have a hell of a lot of, discussion about, kinesiology and how does the body move and how does the body work? How do you set up a good fighting frame? Why are we doing it this way? And what does it accomplish? Steve and Alan did very, very well trying to condense that down into 2 hours. But I would love to take a longer version of that class. But that is not a drill of any kind that I will be practicing on my own without an instructor. So that's where I'm at on shooting classes.
Okay, so we took a lot of our classroom classes together, but there were some variations. So we both took the classroom version of Kills in the Streets.
Yep.
So I got a little introduction to some of the associations that way. Let's see, Unconventional Wisdom. We took that with Moss, so it was very.
I'm gonna have to book a class with him before he retires.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was very nice to meet him. Instructional development for our art was a very informative class.
And John Farnham is a charmer. I'm just going to tell you that right now. He's a charmer. And in the South, being a charmer is both a good thing and a bad thing, depending on your perspective. So, take that into account. His wife's a saint. I'm going to leave it there. He was wonderful.
See, we did. Oh, the TacCon Chess Club, the nerd class.
The nerd class, my favorites.
The nerd class. No, that was great. It was good stuff. Because it's nice to integrate, being someone.
You get three perspectives on the same topic, and they're all excellently researched, very well documented, very data driven, and very well presented. And their three personalities played off each other perfectly. So it was entertaining and informative. So.
And I loved seeing evidence-based information integrated into this field.
Yes.
Because what I've seen taking classes before, there's a lot of inflated statistics, what people's personal opinions are, more so than the facts. And
gun lore, the stuff that I call, the lore that developed over time. Nobody knows where it came from, and we don't even know if it's fucking true. If it's true, I'm trying to not use my cuss words. But there was no lore. It was all data. Mm-hmm. So.
And, and having someone with, either way, it was great. I really enjoyed that. It was different. It was definitely different, and I think it very relevant. Let's see, we did. Well, crap.
The other class we did together was the Gateway Learners class, but I want to save that for last.
Oh, right. Well, I took the Conquering Concealment Challenges with the Filster crew, so that was, of course, very helpful. A lot of that information can be found on their website and things, but that was, it was good taking, they provided the opportunity for folks to be tweaked on the spot with their concealment. And real life examples, different body types and things like that. So that was fantastic. And I love Sarah and all them. So, we favor Sarah.
Yes, we do.
And then there was some other guy. I guess it was Sarah's husband.
Sarah's husband. Yeah. Mr. Sarah.
Mr. Sarah. That's what. So, okay. That, and then
I took Gabe White's Run the Line class.
Oh, right.
And let me tell you, for a class that he pulled out of his ass on the fly, it was very well done. I especially because we're a fledgling business. We come from a very institutionalized background when it comes to safety. Okay, so military, law enforcement, that was our, that's our experience with this is how you build a safety plan. What I really liked about Gabe's discussion was that safety is a process. It's not a plan and it's not a briefing. Safety actually starts with the very first email that you send to your students or your clients. That it begins with organization, and if you are disorganized, that's Satan stomping on all of your safety. Basically, those are not his words, but and I loved that. So Courtney and I already do. It was really nice to be validated because we already do a lot of the things that he recommended, but I like that he looks at it as a process. Like it is a holistic approach to conducting a class where safety, everybody says, well, safety first, but they don't practice safety first. Safety is a side thought. Something else that he recommended that really struck a chord with me was getting actual verbal buy-in from your students in the class that you're teaching on what are our red lines for safety. And so he talked about how he walks them through, these are the safety rules, these are the reasons for the safety rules. And for example, if I point a gun at you, if I allow my muzzle to drift, is it more likely that if I pull that trigger that you're going to get shot? And they all say yes. And he says, can we agree that that is something that we are not going to put up with? And he makes them verbalize and say yes. And he says, so you would agree that you would rather have me kick somebody out of class before they shoot someone, or would you want me to wait until after they shoot someone? And he says before, that the class obviously agrees and says before. And he goes, so we're all in agreement. This is one of those things that will get you kicked out of class, and nobody's gonna, we're in agreement with this. And so I like that concept of buy-in and verbalizing that buy-in. That way it reinforces the lesson, number one, so you're likely to have fewer violations. And number two, if you do have an egregious violator and you kick him out or her out, there's no blowback because everybody agreed on the rules. So that was really nice. It was very well done. Very well done. And then last, Gateway Learners.
Oh, what about your off-duty shootings?
Oh, yes. I did off-duty shootings of the LAPD with Claude. I love Claude. He is one of my go-to favorites. Actually, I signed up for his Patreon, and my God, for $5 a month, there's an unbelievable amount of data available to you. If you ever think you want to conduct a study, you need to go check out Claude's Patreon first because he's probably already done it. So what I liked about this class was that off-duty shootings for the LAPD, their policies are such that when you are off duty and you get involved in a shooting, it is still going to be an officer involved shooting, but you're off duty, so the rules for you are more similar to those of just a regular armed citizen. And it was, you know, he had several case studies that he was able to discuss about, yep, this is what happened when this officer was off duty, and these are the mistakes that were the mistakes that were made, these are the things that were done well. And so you could draw your own conclusions from those, but a lot of times the only reporting or investigating that we get for self-defense shootings come from the newspapers, and we know how correct newspaper reporting is. You have to be really, really self-motivated to go dig out the court transcripts and try to read those. But again, are you getting the complete story? Maybe, maybe not. Every one of these shootings was very similar. They were all self-defense shootings. He did include animal shootings in those, like where they had to take out a dog or something like that. And they were thoroughly investigated and researched, and, you know, basically, did they fall within policy or outside of policy? So you kind of get either an acquittal or a conviction in the end of that discussion, you know, for, you know, basically saying, yep, you did the right thing, or nope, you did the wrong thing. So that was very, very interesting.
Okay. And then we took the Akil and Tiff's class at the end on Sunday. So we ended on a very excellent note, because Akil and Tiff are just freaking phenomenal, and we love them so much.
Yes, we do love them. As a matter of fact, we want to be them when we grow up.
Yes.
So
yes, very much so. So yeah, I mean, it was very validating sitting through that class and realizing, like, okay, we are on the right track, because we are already doing a lot of these things. However, I was still taking down notes, and actually on this ride home, I've been probably can't see my laptop. I've been working, so trying to get some stuff done that was recommended in their class, and we'll definitely be signing up for their Gateway Instructor course
and their marketing class
and the marketing class. So you know, because we just started our business in January. We've been instructors for a long time, but we worked for another company, and so now we're on our own.
And before that,
it was all
you worked
institution.
law enforcement. I was military.
Yeah.
On the instructor side, and it just doesn't.
Yeah. So
not appropriate.
Yeah, we've been doing. So we're not like newbies. We're just new on our own. So, you know, where everyone else, you know, where someone else was doing the work. So now.
And we're trying really hard to learn from our betters. We really are.
Exactly. Like. So, yeah, we definitely want to learn from others. We're not too good for that at all. So, but overall, I think TacCon went really well. I was very surprised about how many people were there.
Yes, the event administration was, I mean, clockwork. It was excellent.
The bathrooms were great.
The Porta-Johns.
Yeah.
The Uptown Porta-Johns. All right, now look, I don't know where you booked these, but you should continue to book them. They had running water and little flushing toilets. I was so happy. I was so happy.
That was great. And they were clean. So, and even the stationary bathrooms were clean.
Were nice,
so no complaints there at all.
The parking, the event staff for the facility, they were amazing. I mean, they did a great job. The range master, the TacCon staff, excellent. I mean, everything ran like it was supposed to. There was not a hitch. If there was a hitch, we didn't see it.
Yeah, we didn't see it if there was. But the only thing that, you know, that I think we would have to mention, if, you know, I don't know, maybe on a basis of fairness or whatever. Not that I'm trying to nitpick stuff in it. And I have a feeling that it might have been already addressed, because we noticed it on Friday and Saturday, but didn't see it all on Sunday, was the vehicle traffic to and from the staff parking lot was a bit questionable on Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, they were going too fast.
They were going too fast for how many people were walking around. But I did not see that at all on Sunday, and I think we even said to ourselves, we're like, because I was like, I'm going to mention that
Yes.
But
then
then
it
Sunday
didn't happen Sunday
we
at
didn't see
all.
it all, and I didn't even tell anybody.
And we're not
so.
talking about the little golf carts.
Yeah, not the golf carts. We're
The
talking about
personal vehicles.
personal vehicles that was
So.
driving. Yeah, the people were getting a little bit too impatient and driving a little bit too fast through that area when we have a lot of people walking, and especially during lunchtime.
Yeah.
Lunchtime when the food trucks were out there, people were in line. There were people, like again, Friday and Saturday is the only time I saw this. And then, people driving their personal vehicles a little bit too aggressively to and from that area. So, but that's really the only thing I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, the big question, will we be back?
Yes.
If funds allow. So for the next year, or I guess
Well, no,
a
because
little
this,
over 6 months.
No,
when
it'll be-
signups are.
I don't know. Yeah, whenever signups are.
Whenever signups are, we're gonna have to freaking hustle and use Akil and Tiff's wisdom to make sure that we are bringing in more money in this business, and so we can afford to come back.
Yeah, so that we can feed our training habit.
Not criticizing the affordability. I'm not saying it's not worth it.
No, it is absolutely worth it. You're
It's
not
worth
gonna,
it,
You're
but
not
it's
going to get this
still-
expertise available to you for this amount of money anywhere else.
Right.
But
we can't grab it out of
We're
thin
poor.
air. We're poor. We're
We're
poor living in rural Kentucky, so that's just the reality of it. So we'll have to get that figured out.
And,
So
we can set up that OnlyFans. I can sell feed pigs.
oh my God,
I'm just saying.
Anyway, so on that note,
We're problem solvers. That's all.
so no.
Anyway, on that note, thank you all.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
oh,
It was a fantastic event.
And also, last but not least, because I know this is about to hit 30 minutes. But feeling welcome as a first timer
Yes.
was very nice. Like, I actually liked the first timer tags
Yes.
because people came up to us and was asking how we were enjoying it.
Yep.
So that was nice. And let's face it, and a lot of people that met me probably quickly figured out that I was not quite a people person. So coming to this event was quite overwhelming at times for me, but I know I'm in the wrong profession to not be a people person. Oh my God. But it was very welcoming. Like,
Yes.
everyone
It
was
was
nice.
amazing.
There was no rudeness. There was no ego. There was none of that crap.
No.
It was very nice.
These were just a whole bunch of like-minded people got together and decided they was going to have a party with guns, and it was a good time.
And I don't think I've ever hugged so many people in one spot. That was difficult. But I made it.
You made it.
I made
love it.
with all the hugs. Okay.
All right. Thank you all.